Your host, Beth Ann.
And I welcome you today to CSC Talk Radio. It is my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to be here with you today. I say that, but I'm a little bit upset about things. There's so much noise these days. There's an attack on this president, which is an attack on this nation. And more than ever before, when I'm watching the news like last night, I have this little fear inside me that D.C. might actually win. There's nothing in their eyes that he can do or wants to do that they will allow or approve of. They are hitting him and those around him with all they got. They set up this framing of the president a long time ago, before he was even president. They've been deceiving we the people for years, for decades. Yet we keep playing a game with them. They make up the rules, which apply only to us. And the media lies and leaves out convenient news. If I wasn't so stubborn, I'd be discouraged. But instead, I'm determined. And there are so many things going on right now that affect our lives. And yet we have to listen to this other stuff. All night long, we listen to this other stuff. We, the people, need to have a passion for liberty. We, the people, need to really, really want independence. Independence in our individual lives, independence in our communities, independence in our states. But that's been taken away from us through policies, by the D.C. occupiers, occupying offices and cutting deals. They have hated this president since he started running for president. They hated him because of his policies that he wanted to help with this nation. Trade and immigration. And I still stand by this. They go hand in hand, and that's why Congress hates him. That's why they cannot put up with what he's doing or saying or trying to accomplish. Today I have a guest with me. He's been with us before, and we're going to talk about some of this. And Jim, it's Jim Stuber, and we're going to talk about trade because that's his passion right now. But you know what? It is the foundation of the economy of this nation, and this economy in this nation has not been good for a long, long time. Jim, welcome back to CSC Talk Radio. Are you there, Jim? I guess we don't have Jim just yet.
Time again.
Jim, are you there?
Thank you.
Oh, hi, Jim. How are you doing?
Well this morning, Beth Ann. Great to be with you.
All right. Did you hear my opening?
Yes, I heard everything right up until a few seconds ago.
Okay. We've been having some phone issues here in the last few weeks. I believe it just upset me last night, and I know we're going to talk about trade today, and we need to talk about trade today. But it's upsetting me because I see this stuff unfolding, and at every turn, it just seems so deceptive, so hypocritical, so set up against this president, which is against the people. I don't care if you voted for him or not. It's still against the people. They just don't seem to want us to prosper. They don't seem to want things to go good for the American people. That's what I'm seeing, and it just infuriates me. And it's a little scary that they're all together in this. What do you think?
Well, I've had the same reaction in my little neck of the woods, which is trade and jobs. And you mentioned independence in your opening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way for a family to be independent is for them to be able to go get up in the morning, do a job that needs doing, and get paid a fair wage for it so they can go home, have dinner, and play with their kids.
It's not, they don't.
And not need a subsidy.
Exactly.
Independence.
Exactly. And not you don't have independence by the government giving everybody Medicare. You don't have independence by the government giving you anything.
So what we had was the government giving away those jobs.
Yes.
And that's, as you say, that people have been so wedded to these theories of free trade and how this was good for everybody. But the people knew better. The people in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania were living it. And so they said, no, all of you Nobel Prize winning economists, you were wrong. And they elected Donald Trump.
And, now we have this battle. And I know it's not necessarily over trade, but I still think it is related to that, to the jobs and to trade, over the border wall. And I mentioned earlier this week to my audience that my mind keeps flashing back. We're just about to be done with Paul Ryan. And this was during the campaign. And President Donald Trump had already won the nomination from the Republican Party. He won the primary. And they were at a big rally, Jim, and President Donald Trump was going on about the wall. We're going to have a wall. We're going to have a wall. And he kind of pointed over to Paul Ryan. We're going to have a wall. And he gives this little smirky wink and grin at him. And Paul Ryan standing there with his arms crossed, shaking his head no. Mm-hmm. So who won that war? I'm all for the president shutting the government down. I'm all for it. Now, maybe nobody else is, but I am. I'm just so mad at him that I just, just shut Congress down. Let everybody else keep working, but shut Congress down and then don't pay them. Don't pay them back pay. They haven't earned it. But it just hit me that it was all a setup from the day one. They weren't going to give this man the wall. They weren't going to give the people what they wanted.
Yes, and Beth Ann, you're so right. Trade and jobs and immigration are totally intertwined. If you don't have a border, then instead of sending the jobs to a factory over there, you just bring all of their desperate workers in here. So they are totally connected. And I think that if people have an open mind about this, people are always so quick to say, oh, that wall is not a feasible idea. It's not going to do anything.
Pelosi says it's immoral.
Article. Yeah, but what they've discovered, and I think this was National Public Radio, somebody reporting that there's a new channel where they're having busloads of desperate Central Americans showing up in these remote places in Texas and in New Mexico where we are totally understaffed with our border. There's no barrier, so they just walk in.
Yeah.
And at danger to their lives, because these are very remote places. We had the young girl die this week of exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there's no barrier, then they just walk in and say, we're here, now deal with us.
So what's immoral about the wall? I don't know what Nancy Pelosi's trying to say. We just have to let everybody in and be open borders to all the world. And we know that'll be the death of. I think she understands perfectly. I don't think she.
I don't understand what maybe I don't know who her constituents are, why who she's beholden to, but I just know she doesn't live in the neighborhoods that are impacted by the immigration.
None of them do. None of them do. And
easy to say.
I have listeners on the border. And the ranchers down there, what they have dealt with for years is just unreal. And that's immoral. I mean, what they're doing coming across the border, this the human trafficking, the raping, and the drugs and all that's going on. We're going into a break. I'm going to open the phone lines, but keep it on tap. We're going to talk about trade and immigration and how this all, and jobs, and how this all works together, and what the president really wants. And you know what? He can't do this on his own. We, the people, have got to stand behind this man as best we can. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. I'm visiting with Jim Stuber, and the number to call is 877-895-5410, and we will be right back.